and welcome to the third episode of our podcast. I am Zoe and this is Sanjay, my co-host. We will be covering emotions such as excitement, anxiety, and stress. On today's episode, we will be touching on stress. And with us, we have Dr. Goh Boon Yeow. Let's welcome him.
Hi everyone.
Dr. Goh, can you please tell us more about yourself?
Okay, well, I have been teaching here for 5 years with UB. Though I have been teaching with, then you call it SIM, and of course now you call it SUSS for the last 16 years in all. But my morning job also, of course, I do. I was a educational psychologist, working in a school, managed children with stress. Yeah, that's our topic we are talking about today. And I also deal with children with special needs. And yeah, I've been doing that for the last, 11 years in all.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Goh.
Yeah.
So to get the ball rolling, can you tell us how do you define stress and what are some of its primary causes?
Okay, stress. Stress is something which I always tell people that, hey, it is actually an issue where you realize that your resources, okay, be it internal or external resources, and you realize that you don't have enough of such resources to deal with the demands of the situation, and when you fail to actually utilize all these resources to deal with the demand of the situation, that's where you feel stress. And of course, in situation where stress levels goes up is whereby you find that the situation is threatening, and with that, your stress level actually goes up.
So, Dr. Goh, I would like to ask you, so you said that you don't have these resources to be able to cope, and then that's why you will get distressed. So, are there any of these, like any unexpected triggers that you would say that would put you in this position that you feel you do not have enough resources to cope?
Okay, the thing about this issue is that it all depends on people to people. Stress, as I say, is very much a person fit, and also of course environment fit. And it depends on situation. Okay, from situation A to B. So what you may feel stressed with may not be felt by me. So, and likewise, what that is Zoe, what Zoe can feel stressed with may not be felt by both of us. So if you ask me whether there have been situation where I've been put in a situation that I'm stressed, can I say right now? No, of course not. Of course not right now. Yeah, both of them are stressing me out because I keep forgetting their names, Zoe and Sanjay. Yes, Sanjay. Okay, so but no, not at all. In fact, I have been trained. I have undergone training for more than 2 years. Okay, on how to actually moderate my stress. Trained by special forces. Not that it's during my days in national service, of course not. But I've been trained by special forces from some countries out there in the Middle East. I'm not going to name my country. To actually know how to deal with stress in any other particular situation. So, which means that nothing actually can literally stress me out today, because at the back of my mind, I always have resources ready to deal with it. So if I don't have resources to deal with it, what I do is, I pull out my wild card, that is, I rather than approach the situation directly, I avoid it first. Avoid it, look at all my resources again, relook into all my resources again, and see how I can deal with it ultimately. Yeah. So, yes, nothing really can actually stress me out today. That is about external stress, I would say. But if you're talking about internal stress, internal stressor, as what Hans Selye actually would define that stress is everywhere. You know, whatever you're doing, you're stressed. In fact, the moment you're conceived, yes, you're stressed, yes, because our heart, the moment it beats, yes, this organ is being stressed out. Our arteries are always stressed out by the flow of blood through our whole body. If we're talking about internal stress, it would actually be very much, I would say, perhaps a little bit because of some, I would say, I do get, sometimes I do get some migraine headaches. I do get, not because of external stress, but because of perhaps the weather that, pushes my body to get this headache. And of course, I do get fatigue because of the weather again. And yes, all these actually are internal stresses to my body. But then again, nevertheless, externally, I am also on the lookout for resources that can help me moderate all these stresses. Yeah.
Okay, so Dr. Goh, what do you think are some common misconceptions that people might have about stress?
Misconception that you must be weak, that's why you feel stressed. That you are not strong, psychologically. That it will actually go away on its own. It will sit on it. Another misconception I have is that it's just a cohort thing. That young people are always stressed, elderly will not because they are wiser. These are the misconceptions that people have about stress. But in actual fact, no, not at all. So long as, regardless of who you are, young, old, regardless of gender, race, culture, people can feel stressed. So long as they do not have enough resources to deal with the demand of the situation. Yeah, that's where stresses comes.
Right. So, Dr. Goh, I would like to ask, then, do you feel there's any way we could get rid of these misconceptions? Because I think it's a common stigma, especially in present day when we try and prioritize so much of mental health. We feel like, there are many things that will stress us out and all these kind of things. And then we tend to think that the stress only affects us. We don't realize it affects everyone. Is there any way we can try and get rid of such a stigma?
Oh, okay. To get rid of this stigma, I guess one of the best way, perhaps is through education. If you actually inform others well, I guess with a good number of population being informed of this issue of what stress is all about, and the misconception that people have out there, and perhaps it will help alleviate the situation. Yeah, but though not all, but still it will help. Alright.
So Dr. Goh, how can individuals actually identify their own stress triggers?
So identify their own stress triggers. Importantly, you will need to know the antecedents, what comes along, what you are going to face after that. And of course, if you are able to identify the antecedent, you will definitely be able to know, hey, will this situation stress me out because it is threatening? Will this situation stress me out because I don't have the resources to deal with it, or or it's really beyond my control? That's why I feel stressed.
Okay, so Dr. Goh, what you're trying to say is that we should try and just take a moment, just sit back and try and identify as to why we are feeling stressed. Then from there we can understand the triggers behind it.
Yes, of course.
Alright. Okay, then so Dr. Goh, do you have any personal experiences, like you said that you were in the special forces and then they taught you how to deal with stress and everything,
correct.
but before that, prior to that, can you recount any personal experiences that really made you feel so stressed to the point that you just felt like it was very difficult to operate?
Oh, okay. That was actually during my, I can say it's probably during my national service days. Before I had this training from the special forces, during my early in national service days, the national service I went through is very much different from Sanjay. You went through it, right?
Yes, I have gone through it, yes.
Definitely, very very different from what you went through. Being physically punished, okay, with what you call positive punishment, is very real. Okay, and it happens. It happens. It happened to us, and of course, when we actually increase in our rank, we do it on others also. So it's a, it's a paid forward, we call it, thing. But then the thing is that, in those days, when we were being physically punished, things like, slapping is common. Being slapped during my first 4 months of BMT, basic military training, was very, very common. A day that you're not slapped means that, perhaps you'll be thinking, hey, did I do something wrong that, people are ignoring me? Being beaten up with, I don't know, today the warrant officer used a stick to measure how far apart you are, to step in front of each other. In those days, the stick was used to cane people. Okay. So that day, those were the days that you actually, I actually felt that it's not easy to go through. It isn't easy to go through. Tiring, very tiring, because I came from a camp where it's a matter of life and death. I own concealed. I came from an ammunition base where we deal with explosive of all sorts. So it's a matter of life and death. You don't do things carefully. You are not careful with whatever you're handling. It will cause not only your own death, but probably the whole department or the whole camp will die. And of course, physical punishment were actually common if you miss certain things, certain procedures. And those were the days that I felt was very difficult to get through. But nevertheless, we persevered on, and we went through it.
It's good to hear, Dr. Goh.
Otherwise, I won't be here anymore. IMH already. I won't be here. I'll be at IMH, being strapped up and okay. I'll be strapped up like that.
Oh no.
Fortunately not okay.
Thankfully not.
Who knows? I'm one of those who actually escaped.
So, Dr. Goh, do you think that practicing self-acceptance can actually help us to reduce stress?
Yes. Self-acceptance as in, I would actually see this self-acceptance as accepting who you are, your knowing your weaknesses and strengths. Yes, it will help you reduce stress. It's very much like mindfulness, actually, I would say self-acceptance. Because once you are actually mindful, or you accept your, okay, let's start with limitations. I don't like to start with limitation, but it's easier to talk about it. Once you actually know that what your limitations are, you will know that, hey, I can't do that much. Okay, and of course, when you accept that this is your limitation, this is what you can do, you have put in your best effort, you definitely not feel so stressed out that say, wow, this is what I didn't do, or this is what I couldn't achieve. But in actual fact, you already know that these are the goals that probably you can achieve only. Then on the other hand, if you know your strength, then you will be able to push yourself even further, and of course do even better, and of course at the same time you also stress out also that, hey, I'm not put in my best effort. Then again, of course, you know your strength, and you should have any push forward. And of course, self-acceptance also, knowing that, hey, this is what I can do. But then again, beyond it, it will actually make you think of who can I actually tap on to help me? So looking, knowing your limitations, you will actually know, you will actually be able to take a step back, think through, hey, who can I actually tap on to help me? And of course, you will be able to think of your social support. What type of social support do I need in order to actually move forward, in order to actually help me to achieve my goals? So with it, again, you will be able to find your resources. The valuable, social support that can help you. And henceforth, yes, you will be able to reduce your stress even further with that.
Alright. Dr. Goh, actually I would like to ask, on top of practicing self-acceptance, do you feel there are any other effective strategies that you could use to help to reduce this kind of stressful situations, or at least make it a bit more bearable to control?
Okay, be mindful. I'll always tell people, be mindful and be prepared. Two terms. Be mindful of one, your environment, where you are, the situation you're facing. Be mindful of your own personal resources, what you have at hand. Be mindful of all the resources out there in the environment that you are facing. So once you are actually mindful of all the resources that you have, you are facing, and you will know. Of course, the third thing before I go on, be mindful of how you can use the resources to help you. How to actually make it work for you. So once you are actually, I think once you are mindful of all these resources, you will know that, hey, if the situation comes, you will know which resource you can use, how to use it, and make it to the best of your ability to actually to use it. And then at the same time also be prepared. Don't be overly complacent and sit back and then do nothing. Always be prepared for things to come. I always tell people that for me, I am always thinking of things that can happen. Even when I'm doing nothing, I'm not exactly really, in Chinese they call it, or in Hokkien they call it 做博. 做博 really nothing, and then lay back and shake my leg. No, I'm always thinking of, hey, what are the likely things that can happen to myself, my work, and situation that I may face, from the easiest scenario to the worst case scenario that can happen. Easiest scenario, like, hey, what if I talk halfway, then my computer break down? What if I talk halfway and then I get a wardrobe malfunction? And xiao liao, what to do? The worst case scenario is, I don't know, maybe what if I talk halfway, then or rather, what if I talk halfway? What if I come to school and realize that, geez, I didn't even bring my thumb drive along? The worst case scenario is that, geez, I'm not really prepared for lesson already. So what are the resources that I can use to actually help me? So with this, like say for example, in the easiest scenario, okay, that if I will talk halfway and then the whole thing break down, then of course I will have the phone ready. My handphone is already ready. I have the numbers there. I can always call for technical support straight away. So no stress. If I get a wardrobe malfunction, the most I sit and talk lah. Okay. Okay, no stress also lah. Okay, wardrobe malfunction, or the most I pull out my shirt and then I talk. No stress. I can always pull out my shirt and talk, and no stress at all. Worst case scenario, if I don't bring my thumb drive along, I'm not prepared. I always have a second copy that uploaded in UB. The what you call Bright Space. That's why I always load up my slides before lesson. It's also for my own use. Because if I realize that, geez, I don't even have that, then I can always, download it and use it. So, that settles it.
Alright, so Dr. Goh, just to wrap up that part, so you're just saying that how we should be aware of our environment, aware of the resources that we have, and how we can use these resources.
Yes.
Okay, then I'd just like to ask if you have any last advice for the audience, anything that a final message for them.
Final message. What I would probably want to tell people is have self-acceptance. Know your limitations. Don't be don't be over ambitious. And of course, don't do too much of a upward comparison. Because so long you know your limitation, and of course you do a bit of upward comparison, you will try to compensate to match up. But don't do one that is that beyond your so-called capabilities. If you do one beyond capabilities, of course you will feel stressed out. Thirdly, always have resources at hand. Don't be overly complacent. And of course, lastly, be prepared. Okay? So yeah, that's about it.
Alright.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Goh, for sharing with us more about stress. Yeah, and with that, we'll see you in the next episode.
Thank you.
Thank
Okay,
you.
bye bye. No stress.